चैतन्यमयी सत्यमयी परमे। ॐ आनन्दमयी चैतन्यमयी सत्यमयी परमे। ॐ आनन्दमयी चैतन्यमयी सत्यमयी परमे। ॐ नमो भगवते श्री अरविन्दाय। जगत जननी भवतारिणी मोहिनी तु नवदुर्गा। जगत जननी भवतारिणी मोहिनी तु नवदुर्गा। तू भवानी महाकाली तू शिवानी सुंदरी। जगत जननी भवतारिणी मोहिनी तु नवदुर्गा। शारदा सरस्वती ज्ञानदेवी वंदना। शारदा सरस्वती ज्ञानदेवी वंदना। शांति सुख की हो विमला ज्ञान दातु हो सफला। जगत जननी भवतारिणी मोहिनी तु नवदुर्गा। लक्ष्मी धन की संपदा पूरी करत कामना। ऋषि मुनि जन सकल प्रिया कोमला तु चंचला। जगत जननी भवतारिणी मोहिनी तु नवदुर्गा। शारदा तु ज्ञानदा लक्ष्मी तू है संपदा। काली दुर्गा शक्ति माँ कोटि है तुम्हें प्रणाम। जगत जननी भवतारिणी मोहिनी तु नवदुर्गा। तू भवानी महाकाली तू शिवानी मंगला। जगत जननी भवतारिणी मोहिनी तू नवदुर्गा। Especially in this is a North Indian rural song. That's why they call Lakshmi as Lakshmi. So it's in rural areas. That song morning I have learned from Prafullaji. So I thought of singing before the session begins. And also deep gratitude to the Divine Mother that there is all over Hyderabad there is showers of joy. So Mother has made the climate so cool for all of us. I have been blessed by the Divine Mother to talk about what is exactly meant by yoga, what truly the yoga is, and conscious evolution. We can consider the topic as yoga as conscious evolution. When we think about this yoga or contemplate about this term yoga, it comes to our natural mind that yoga is something is in relation to some kind of a physical exercise and a kind of a pranayama, chakrasana, different asanas are there as propounded by Hatha Yoga. In fact, it has become today, we can say that it has become a household term. Indeed, this word yoga has gone far beyond the boundaries of India. We have been witnessing across the globe, everybody is following this, more particularly in relation to this yoga, they have been doing many exercises, pranayama and other things. Of course, it is part and parcel of the yoga. No one can, rule out that possibility. Though this, word yoga is multidimensional, but there is a lack of deeper understanding of what yoga truly is. So throughout this session, now let us contemplate and reflect this word through magnificent words of the Mother and the Master, because we know that through three things, that is Shravanam, Mananam, Nididhyasanam. Shravanam antanam, listening, through listening. Mananam means constantly reflecting upon. Nididhyasana means contemplating over and meditating over what we are listening and what we are reflecting upon. So through these three things, we can develop any aspect. There is a larger interpretation and a wider meaning to this word, but for want of time, we'll confine to some of the traditional types of yoga. I have extracted this information from Letters on Yoga by Sri Aurobindo, and also some of the information in the All India magazine in relation to this, and also a talk by senior sadhaks. So that's how the source I have got it. Then coming back to this, then what is yoga? We all know that consciously or unconsciously or subconsciously, all life is yoga. Because Sri Aurobindo also says, all life is yoga. That is a mantra we all of us know. Swami Vivekananda also says, once he was asked what is exactly meant by yoga, he says, yoga may be regarded as a means of compressing one's evolution into a single life, or a few years, or even a few months of bodily existence. This is the definition given by Swami Vivekananda. Sri Aurobindonians, we know that everything is yoga. The moment we ourselves connect outside the world and manifesting the divinity in each and every aspect of life is a yoga. Nothing is excluded. Our endeavor is to manifest the divinity in each and every aspect of life. Union with the divine, and a methodized direction, a kind of a methodized exercise towards self-perfection. Because Sri Aurobindo, we all know that, doesn't give much emphasis on abandonment. He always wants us to see the fulfillment in life. A perfection, self-perfection need to be there in life. A fulfillment, life in life. So in this regard, Sri Aurobindo says the object of yoga is this. The object of our yoga is self-perfection, not self-annulment. There are two paths that are laid before humanity. It all depends upon, choice of an individual. One is withdrawal from universe, as we have been witnessing. Thus, various others monks who are not interested in this worldly life and have been wearing this orange robes. That is one kind of a withdrawal from universe. That comes by asceticism. The second path is the perfection in the universe itself. It is affected by tapasya. Sri Aurobindo says, considering these two paths, let ours be path of perfection, not of abandonment. Let our aim be victory in the battle, not the escape from all conflicts. That's why Sri Krishna also gives the spiritual discourse to Arjuna in the midst of the battle. He doesn't say, run out from this life and lead an ascetic life for a kind of realization. He gives the spiritual discourse in the middle of the battle. Because Sri Krishna is always have the kind of a dilemma, a confused state of mind as to what to do. Do I need to follow the Jnana Yoga or a Karma Yoga or Karma Sannyasa Yoga? In that state of dilemma, Sri Krishna makes him to understand that the very karma itself is superior to knowledge. He makes him to understand that you have to fight, lift the bow and shoot. Dusta Shikshana, Sista Rakshana. For preservation of the good, you have to kill the bad. This world is Brahman, the world is God, the world is Satyam, the world is Ananda. So the object of the yoga is to experience the divinity in each and every aspect of life. Satyam, because there is everywhere there is Satyam, Jnanam, Anantam, Brahma. There is a vastness, there is a truth, there is full of wisdom. God possessed knowledge is there in this universe. The endeavor has to be made to raise our conscious levels to that higher consciousness and see the divinity. Unfortunately, it is our misreading through our mental egoism which creates a lot of confusion, saying that the world is full of falsehood and misery and sorrow. It's obviously the moment the ego comes, because it gives various interpretations, gives many layers. That's how the mother, wipes off our layers of obscurity. That's why we always aspire the mother to remove the darkness. That's why the beautiful shloka in Brihadaranyaka Upanishad. Asatoma Sadgamaya, Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya, Mrityorma Amrutangamaya. Lead us from darkness to the light, lead us from mortality to immortality. Asatoma Sadgamaya, lead us from unreal to the real. So by yoga we can rise out of falsehood into truth. These are the benefits. If we constantly connect ourselves to the higher consciousness, it helps us. We can rise out of falsehood into truth, out of weakness into force, out of grief and pain into bliss, out of bondage into freedom, out of darkness into light, out of confusion into purity. In the process, in fact, we need darkness also. There are also people who may be constantly complaining that why my life is like this, why there is a lot of sorrow around me. Sri Aurobindo in the Savitri says, man needs to, he wants freedom, but he has to live in bonds. he has need of darkness to perceive light, and need of grief to feel little bliss. He has need of death to find a greater life. The beautiful and magnificent words of Sri Aurobindo. So that's how the death is a road to immortality. So this magnificent says that he has need of death to find a greater life. His need of darkness to perceive the light, and need of grief to feel little bliss. So if we understand that, then we will not complain about the sorrow and the other problems which we are confronted with. Only that which aims at possessing the fullness of God is Purna Yoga. Our aim must be to perfect as God in His being, pure as He is pure, blissful as He is blissful. Again, going back to Savitri, His nature we must put on as He put ours. We are sons of God and must be even as He. Sri Aurobindo particularly says this. The external things, because we need to live in this outer world, there is no doubt about it. As long as we are there as a human beings, it is compulsory that we need to have a kind of a connection, public relations and communications. These are all very much necessary, external. But if we have that kind of an inner contact with the Divine Mother and extend that positive vibrations to the outer world, then there is so much perfection and there is so much beauty and ananda. That's why Mother also says that even in any kind of a adversary situation or any kind of a difficulty, always be stationed. Do not be perturbed by outward circumstances, because outward circumstances keep throwing many challenges. But if we learn the art of connecting ourselves to the Divine Mother, even though you may be going to any kind of a situation or facing any kind of a difficulty or amidst the war, if you are stationed within and deeply connected to the Divine Mother or a higher source of inspiration or a higher consciousness of the Master and the Mother, these outside situation will not disturb us. That's why Mother says, be stationed within and do not be perturbed or disturbed by the outward circumstances. For that we need to have a kind of a study wisdom too. The life keeps throwing many challenges. Dukheshu anudvignamanaha sukeshu vigataspruhaha vitaraga bhayakrodaha stitadhir muniruchyate. This is exactly told by Sri Krishna to Arjuna, to have a kind of a steady mind. Sthita prajna, steady mind. Dukheshu anudvignamanaha. If there is so much sorrow, don't be embarrassed. Sukheshu vigataspruhaha. If there is a happiness, you need not be too much elated. You maintain some kind of a, transcend beyond this attraction and repulsion. If one is able to, remove this kind of egoism, hatred from one's nature, then one is able to attain the steady wisdom. There are many such shlokas. If you go through from 54 to 72 of Sankhya Yoga in Bhagavad Gita, then we will be able to know about this. The person, what are the qualities of a person who has to maintain the steady wisdom. Then Sri Aurobindo says, materially you are nothing, completely zero according to Sri Aurobindo's perspective and vision. Materially you are nothing, spiritually you are everything. That's why in Savitri also Sri Aurobindo says, how long will you tread the circling tracks of mind around your little self and petty things? We dance as a puppets. As long as our ego is there, it makes us to dance because we want certain kind of a satisfaction. So therefore, if we remove this ego, we can have a connection of the divinity outside the world. Then coming to the aspect of this yoga helping in the change of consciousness, Sri Aurobindo says yoga is a means by which one arrives at union with the truth behind things through an inner discipline which leads us from the conscious of the outward to the conscious of the inner and real. It helps us to go inward and realize what is exactly meant by true life is. It does not exclude the knowledge which is outer apparent world, but sees it with eyes of an inner wisdom. It helps us and to view the things with inner wisdom. The perception differs. If we lose the inner connection, obviously, we perceive the things in a different way. But with inner eyes and inner wisdom, if we perceive the things outside, then they appear completely different. So a change of consciousness is the whole meaning of process of yoga. Like some of you also may know that even while engaging in sports also, mother, in fact, makes the sadhaks to connect to her consciousness. More particularly, the mother plays tennis. The Kalyanda used to play the tennis to the mother and mother would play back to him. Each and every ball the Kalyanda was, just placing at the feet of the Divine Mother. He was just surrendering himself to the lotus feet of the Divine Mother. The Divine Mother throws back and hits back that ball again to that Kalyanda, whereby she wipes off many layers of obscurity. That's how through sports, it may, to our natural mind, it may look very simple to us that, oh, mother with sadhaks playing tennis. But there is a deeper meaning into it. That's how each and every aspect is yoga, unity with the divine. How lucky the sadhaks playing the tennis and sports with the mother. Interesting. So that's how she wipes off many layers of obscurity. Yoga is the science, the process, the effort and action by which man attempts to pass out of the limits of his ordinary mental consciousness into a greater spiritual consciousness. Then Sri Aurobindo also explains in traditional yoga we have many types of yoga, hatha yoga, we have Raja Yoga, we have Bhakti Yoga, Tantra Yoga also there, Karma Yoga also is there. The beauty of integral yoga is that it includes all. So let us briefly touch upon the various types of yoga. Sri Aurobindo says yoga partial and complete. Yoga means union, and the whole object of yoga is the union of the human soul with the Supreme Being, and of the present nature of humanity with the eternal, supreme or divine nature. The greater the union, the greater the yoga. The more complete the union, the more complete the yoga. The complete yoga will be one which accepts God in the world and oneness with all beings and solidarity with the humankind. Fills life and existence with the God consciousness, and not only raises man, the individual, but leads man the race towards a total perfection. This is exactly the words of Sri Aurobindo. As I was just indicating that various types of traditional yoga, the first type is Hatha Yoga. The Hatha Yoga, we have a very interesting three concepts: Laghima, Arima, Mahima. Three siddhis one can attain. We know that sometimes the body floats on the water. That is through Arima. Arima Siddhi is there in this Hatha Yoga. Because in this Hatha Yoga, the much importance, due emphasis is given to the body. Because the body is also meant to do many dharmas. Sharira madhyam khalu dharma sadhanam. Body is meant to do many service, to do many dharmas and service to the others. That's why in Kshetrajna Vibhaga Yoga also Sri Krishna says that this body itself is a field. It should not be discarded or any kind of we should give so much importance to the body, the physical consciousness, because that is quite possible through the body only. In the Kshetrajna Vibhaga Yoga, Sri Krishna says the body is a field, which means kshetra. The person who knows that this body is kshetra is kshetrajna. That's how the chapter is called as Kshetrajna Vibhaga Yoga. The body is field, and the person who knows that this body is a sacred field is a kshetrajna. And a person who knows these two, Kshetra and Kshetrajna, is a sage again. So coming back to this, the first object of this Hatha Yoga, they concern about the asana, physical exercise, mainly to conquer the body, to win over the body. That means to keep the body under their control. Because before it can become the divine, it must be brought under control. The second objective this Hatha Yoga is to conquer physical nature. That is through four siddhis, as I was just indicating: Anima, Laghima, Garima, Mahima. This will just by perfect Laghima, man can rise into the air and tread the winds as his natural elements. By perfect anima, he can bring the nature of the subtle body into the gross body. Sthula Sharira, Sukshma Sharira. Manaku telesinda ee vishayam. Gross body is Sthula Sharira. Sukshma Sharira is subtle body. So through this anima, one can bring the nature of the subtle body into the gross body, which the fire will no longer burn, nor weapons wound, nor want of air stifle, nor the waters drown. ఇంతకుముందు అనుకున్నాము మనం బాడీ మీద తేలియాడుతున్నాడని. If one person floats on the body, it is through this anima siddhi only. This is part and parcel of, integral part of Hatha Yoga. By perfect garima, he can develop an adamantine steadiness which the shocks of the avalanche cannot overbear. By perfect mahima, he can without muscular development outdo the feats of a Hercules. These powers in their fullness are no longer visible in men, but in some degree they belong to all adepts in Hatha Yoga. Their existence no one can doubt who has gone deep into yoga at all or had any personal experience of siddhis. So if we have any kind of a doubt that these are all not there, it is not true. There are certain siddhis which are integral part of this Hatha Yoga, through which man can raise himself above this mind, because the moment he brings that body under his control, like if you tame the horse, normally it will be under control. Before you climb to the chariot, the horse has to be tamed first. So that's how the body also needs to be brought under control for making this siddhi to work upon. Then the third aspect of this Hatha Yoga is to develop in the body yogic force, which is called tapa or viryam or the fire of yoga. The fourth object is to become urdhvareta. Once we bring the body under control and conquer over that physical nature, then the retention comes. Retention itself is not enough. Any kind of energy which is just flowing outside, we try to retain that. And urdhvareta means bringing that energy into all the parts of our being, so that the being helps to unite ourselves with the higher consciousness. That is called urdhvareta. Urdhva means upwards. That is quite possible in Hatha Yoga. So the fourth object is to become urdhvareta, that is to say, to draw up the whole virile force in the body into the brain and return so much of it as is needed for the body, purified and electrified. So a man is not a perfect Hatha Yogin till he has mastered them all. So these four aspects are very much required to consider a person as a Hatha Yogin. Pranayam also we know that Puraka, Rechaka, Kumbhaka. Inhalation is Puraka, exhalation is Rechaka, and retention of breath is Kumbhaka. This also plays a prominent role. This is also part and parcel of the Hatha Yoga. According to this Hatha Yoga concept, this pranayam is the mastery of the vital force, the mobile energy which keeps the universe going. Then due to paucity of time, I'll quickly run through the other yogas also. The Raja Yoga. According to the Raja Yogins, the immanent divine is seen in the heart. That is the quest of Raja Yogin. That means realization of the divinity within the heart. The body itself, according to the Raja Yogins, is identified with the self. So the Raja Yogins don't feel any kind of a difference between themselves and the divinity within, because the body itself is identified with the self. A time comes to Raja Yogin when his body seems not to belong to him, or he to have any concern with it. The completely self-forgetfulness. He is not troubled by its troubles or gladdened by its pleasures. And one more beautiful thing through this Raja Yoga is tranquilizing mind can be made possible through this Raja Yoga. In this process, also like Hatha Yoga, pranayama is essential for Raja Yogins too. Nadi Shuddhi pranayama మనం కూడా చేస్తుంటామే. నాడి శుద్ధి, అనులోమ విలోమ ప్రాణాయామం అని, breathing through left nostril and retention of breath and releasing it through the right nostril. So likewise, this is Nadi Shuddhi pranayama. This Nadi Shuddhi or purification of nerve system by regular breathing, and this can be done while lying, sitting, reading, writing, walking, etc. So that's why the focus upon the breath is very, very important. It helps us to regain the consciousness. This process has a wonderfully calming effects on whole body and mind and drives out every lurking disease in the system, because it purifies the very nervous system, Nadi Shuddhi. It awakens the yogic force accumulated in former lives. Sanchita karmalu, prarabdha karmalu, various karmas are there. We accumulate in this life, through many karmas. Whatever that karmas that we accumulate in our past lives, if we ourselves get connected to this kind of a yogic system of exercise of pranayama, it awakens the yogic force accumulated in former lives. Then it also removes physical obstacles to the awakening of Kundalini Shakti. It's not possible, if we join ourselves for about half an hour crash course, awakening Kundalini in 10 minutes, 15 minutes, it's not possible at all. It requires tremendous exercise. A continuous methodized effort is needed. It's not at all possible by joining any kind of a crash course. Raja Yogins believes by mastering the mind, he can master both the body and prana, both. Danivalla manaku we know that we have a shed chakras: Mooladhara, Swadhisthana, Vishuddha chakramu, Anahat chakramu, Agna chakramu. There are different chakras, right from the Mooladhara which exists in the tailbone up to this 2 feet above our Sahasrara chakram, above our head. There are different chakras, shed chakras. There is every possibility that these chakras get activated through this process. With regard to the small, now we keep coming across this word Kundalini. We'll just, what Sri Aurobindo has indicated, we'll just read about that. Kundalini awakening. What is exactly meant by Kundalini awakening? The preliminary movement of Raja Yoga is a careful self-discipline by which good habits of mind are substituted for the lawless movements that indulge the lower nervous being. By the practice of truth, by renunciation of all forms of egoistic seeking, by abstention from injury to others, by purity, by constant meditation and inclination to the divine Purusha, who is the true Lord of the mental kingdom, a pure, glad, clear state of mind and heart is established. This is the first step only. Afterwards, the ordinary activities of the mind and sense must be entirely quietened in order that the soul may be free to ascend to higher states of consciousness and acquire the foundation for a perfect freedom and self-mastery. But Raja Yoga does not forget that the disabilities of the ordinary mind proceed largely from its subjection to the reactions of the nervous system and the body. It adopts therefore from the Hatha Yogic system its devices of asana and pranayama, but reduces their multiple and elaborate forms in each case to one simplest and most directly effective process sufficient for its own immediate object. Thus it gets rid of the Hatha Yogic complexity and cumbrousness while it utilizes the swift and powerful efficacy of its method for the control of the body and the vital functions and for the awakening of that internal dynamism full of a latent supernormal faculty typified in yogic terminology by the Kundalini, the coiled and sleeping serpent of energy within. This done, the system proceeds to the perfect quietening of the restless mind and its elevation to a higher plane through concentration of mental force by the successive stages which lead to the utmost inner concentration or ingathered state of the consciousness, which is called Samadhi. So compared to this opening of these chakras, there is no willed opening of the chakras in the integral yoga, because Sri Aurobindo never talked about this opening of the chakra, more particularly in this integral yoga. In this integral yoga, they open of themselves by the descent of the force from the above in the Purna Yoga. In the Tantric discipline, what we have been now indicated with regard to this, they open from down upwards, ante Mooladhara Chakram nunchi open avutayi. Whereas in integral yoga, it starts with the descent of the force from above. For which we also know that for the force of the divinity to arrive upon us, we need that so much ardent aspiration is very much needed, rejection and surrender. These are also part of our sadhana. So in our integral yoga, they open from up downward, but the ascent of the force from the Mooladhara does take place. It's possible, Sri Aurobindo says it's possible to awaken the Kundalini. Then coming to the third type of yoga, it's Jnana Yoga, which means path of knowledge. When Sri Arjuna asks, what is normally mainly being followed by a general public, two types of yoga, because there are many other yogas as we are discussing now. Sri Krishna says that mainly the people follow two types of yoga. Lokesmin vividhanishta pura prokta mayanagha jnana yogena sankhyanam karma yogena yoginam. That means the person who follows the path of a knowledge is Sankhya Yogi. A person who is completely engaged in action in the day-to-day life is called Karma Yogi. Mainly, Sri Krishna says two types of yoga. According to this, it proceeds by the method of intellectual reflection, vichara, to right discrimination, viveka. So journey from vichara to viveka. This is Jnana Yoga. So that's how the faith in the scripture, Upanishads, Bhagavad Gita, Narada Bhakti Sutra, it gives so much psychic nourishment, like a pure form of milk. If we drink, we can happily grow. Because these sacred scriptures awakens the psychic impulse in us. Beautiful characters, we know Shabari, the poor lady, has an ardent devotion towards Lord Rama. Like Hanuman. There are many such characters. Connecting ourselves to these sacred scriptures also helps us to attain the knowledge so that we can connect ourselves with the divinity. The yoga as a conscious evolution through all these methods. Then in this yoga, this Jnana Yoga, concentration, faith also plays a prominent role. That's why we know Shraddhavan Labate Jnanam. Those whose faith is deep and who have practiced controlling mind and senses attain divine knowledge, then they attain everlasting supreme peace. That's why Sri Aurobindo also says in the Essays on the Gita, he makes a distinction between sannyasa and tyaga. Outer renunciation is a sannyasa. What we require to do is the tyaga, that means inner renunciation. What happens is sometimes if we keep on suppressing certain things, it leads to violence. So we need to have a completely always, keep contemplating over all these things. The inner renunciation is very, very important, inner tyaga. Then coming to Bhakti Yoga, we all know that it is path of devotion. There are two words that are described in this Bhakti Yoga are Manana and Darshana, which means Manana means a constant thinking of Lord in all things. Darshana means a constant seeing of the Lord, always and everywhere. Devotion, adoration, surrender, love. One of the best examples we can take, so far as this yoga is concerned, we can take reference of Meera. She is an embodiment of love, a pure crystal form of love towards the Lord. So whoever is practicing this kind of yoga, they don't feel that they are leading the life for themselves. Their body and their mind, everything is for the Lord and for the service to the humanity. That's why we have a Samskrita Subhashitam is also there. Paropakaraya phalanti vrikshaha. We know that these trees outside, this mango tree doesn't enjoy the fruit for itself. It enjoys an immense pleasure in giving that fruit to the others. Paropakaraya vahanti nadyaha. The rivers don't flow for themselves, for their own satisfaction. It flows for the others. There is so much greenery and crops. There is so much prosperity. Nadyaha, vahanti nadyaha. That means they flow for others. The rivers flow for others. Paropakaraya duhanti gavaha. Avulu untaye, cows. They just give milk for others, only for our nourishment. But unfortunately, what the humanity is doing is that we are taking milk and making all kind of stupidities. Very unfortunate. So Paropakaraya duhanti gavaha. The cow gives milk for others, just for nourishment to humanity. That's how Paropakaradha idam shariram. Paropakaraya phalanti vrukshaha, Paropakaraya vahanti nadyaha, Paropakaraya duhanti gavaha, Paropakarardha idam shariram. So this body is also meant to do service to the humanity, to do service to the Lord. We need not worry much about it, what will happen. The God will take care of us. That's what Sri Krishna also says, that నాకేంటి లాభం అని ఎప్పుడు ఆలోచించకండి. అనన్యాస్ చింతయంతో మాం ఏ జనాః పర్యుపాసతే తేషాం నిత్యాభియుక్తానాం యోగక్షేమం వహామ్యః. మీ క్షేమాలు నేను చూస్తాను. అనన్యాస్, యూ కంటెంప్లేట్ ఓవర్ మీ, యూ ఆల్వేస్ డూ మై వర్క్, completely love me and do all my activities and unite through this karma, unite yourselves to a higher consciousness and manifest the divinity in each and every aspect of life. Manasa, vacha, karmana. Always try to express the beauty, love and ananda in your relations and just be happy. Remain contented. If you adopt that attitude in your life, then Sri Krishna says that your welfare is my lookout. You need to just place surrender yourself. Manmana bhava madbhakto madhyaji mam namaskaro. You become my devoted, my bhakta. That's all. And surrender. Sarvadharman parityajya mamekam sharanam vraja ahamsta sarvapapebhyo moksha ishyami mashuchaha. I'll give you salvation, whatever mukti, salvation, everything. So that's how one has to lead one's life. Then coming to Karma Yoga, the widest possible entry into Sri Aurobindo's integral yoga is no doubt at all, is through Karma Yoga. That's how whoever wants to lead any kind of an ascetic life, the ashram does not support at all. You want to sit and contemplate and meditate, and Sri Aurobindo's mother is completely dead against the person who is not engaged in work. So the widest possible entry into Sri Aurobindo's yoga is through works. Nishkama karma is also an integral part of this Karma Yoga. That means work to be done without desire for fruit. Karmanye vadikaraste mafaleshu kadachana. Just do your work, that's all. Leave all the fruits at the lotus feet of the Lord. The Lord will give you the fruits. Today we may not realize that no fruits are coming. One day or the other, the God will shower His grace. Ma karma phalehetu mate sangotsa karmanaha. Therefore, we need not bother much about the results. The results may not be so immediate. The grace, divine grace itself is there. That is enough.
Mother's quote, fantastic one. The most blessed man on earth who has got 24 hours work.
That's absolutely right.
So nice,
Correct.
When the work is there, means
Correct.
you are healthy, you are everything.
Everything.
You are knowledgeable, everything, that's all.
Fascinating.
So, that's certain traditions of mother,
Yeah.
it is nothing like very enlightening to us.
Absolutely right. Absolutely right. That's what Mother also says, that let us work as we pray. Let us work as we pray, for indeed work is body's best prayer to the divine. How beautiful it is. The quote is so immense value. Only thing we have to do is that offer everything, offer everything, all the works at the lotus feet of the divine. Brahmarpanam brahmahavihi brahmagnam brahmanavartam brahmaivatena gantavyam brahma karma samadhinaha. Equality, renunciation of all desires for fruit of works, action done as sacrifice to Supreme Lord of our nature. That's how we can unite ourselves with the divinity also. This is Gita's way of Karma Yoga. Then Tantra Yoga is, due to paucity of time, this mainly concerned about this worship of energy and Shakti. Whenever the other session comes up, we'll just talk about it. This is also concerned about mantra and japa. Because through mantra and japa also we can connect to the Divine Mother. Any problems, they just get vanished. Because japa helps to transform and change very course of circumstances. Because whenever any difficult situation arises, అందుకే మదర్ చెప్తారు ఓం నమో భగవతే కానీ మా 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 ఆర్ మా Sri Aurobindo, మా Sri Aurobindo, మా Sri Aurobindo. That contemplation, that japa, that mantra is enough. It wipes off many problems. And the difficulty is that whenever there is any difficulty, only we pray the God. Normally when we are happy, normally we don't remember the divine. Or we are happy, that's all. We don't normally remember. In this regard, Kabir gives a very beautiful doha. I recollect that when I was a child. We have recently also attended one Kabir, this one. I was just sharing with him also. This Kabir doha in this regard is that दुख में सुमिरन सब कराई, सुख में कराई न कोई. जो सुख में सुमिरन सब कराई, तो दुख काहे को होई. That means दुख में सुमिरन सब कराई. Everybody स्मरण, keeps remembering the Lord. सुख में कराई न कोई, nobody remembers the Lord. जो सुख में सुमिरन सब करे, whoever adores or keeps praying the Lord, even if they are so happy, then the difficulties will not come to you at all. That is very beautiful Kabir Doha, which I recollected. So that's how.
This other one also is that RTS are the most
correct.
easiest path to reach to divine.
Correct.
So never curse the audience, never curse the troubles.
Pain is the hammer of the God which chisels human mind to greater heights. That's what it should be part of life. If there are no problems, if there is a smooth sailing in life and there are no problems, life itself becomes lifeless. Then coming back to this Purna Yoga, I'll take just 5 minutes more about this Purna Yoga. Roughly about, this is a general discussion with regard to all other yogas. Coming back to this Purna Yoga, completely concerns about the transformation. Vanishing, manaku deletion ledu. We have to transform our nature. Rupantarīkarana. In Telugu we call it as Rupantarīkarana. Beautifully, whatever the yogas now which we have already talked about, Bhakti Yoga, Tantra Yoga, Raja Yoga, Karma Yoga, everything, the integral yoga takes up all of them in their essence and tries to arrive at a unification. That means it sees the divinity everywhere. In Isha Upanishad also we have first sloka itself is Isha vasyamidam sarvam yatkincha jagatyam jagat tena tyaktena bhunjitaha magrudak kasya svidhanam. This whole world is for the inhabitation of the Lord. We should experience the Lord everywhere. So that's how the great sages also lived in that ecstatic frame of mind, and it recollects one Guru Nanak's beautiful story is that Guru Nanak father was a businessman. Some of you might have come across this. Guru Nanak's father was a businessman. One day he hands over that shops to Guru Nanak and asks him to sell it. Then Guru Nanak has to give around 14 scoops of rice to a person. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. When it comes to Tera, he goes on eating. Tera. He completely empties the entire bag, but doesn't collect anything. So you see the conscious levels of those great sages. That means everything is yours. Everything is Lord, oh Lord, everything is yours. Tera. Then it comes to remembering the Tera word, Tera. That's how the great sages also have lived in the highest consciousness. And this about yoga of transformation, I just want to put it in exactly words of Sri Aurobindo. Our yoga is a yoga of transformation, but a transformation of the whole consciousness and the whole nature from the top to the bottom, from its hidden inward parts to its most tangible external movements. It is neither an ethical change nor a religious conversion, neither sainthood nor ascetic control, neither a sublimation nor a suppression of the life and vital movements that we envisage, nor is it either a glorification or a coercive control or rejection of the physical existence. What is envisaged is a change from a lesser to a greater, from a lower to a higher, from a surface to a deeper consciousness, indeed to the largest, highest, deepest possible, and a total change and revolution of the whole being in its stuff and mass and every detail into that yet unrealized diviner nature of existence. So that means whole of the consciousness completely has to be transformed. It is not enough that one Hatha Yogins mastery over body and so therefore have attained it. No. Everything has to be transformed. It should be placed under the feet of the Divine Mother, so that all the parts of our being, Annamaya, we have Panchakoshas, Annamaya, Manomaya, Pranamaya, Vijnanamaya, Anandamaya. Panchakoshas are there. So they have to be always under the influence of the Divine Mother, so that the Divine Mother takes up our yoga and transforms it. That is possible by remaining psychically open to the Mother. All that is necessary for Varka Sadhana develops progressively. That is one of the chief secrets, the central secret of the sadhana. That's what the Mother says. I was just indicating about this, that in the Savitri, Sri Aurobindo says, his nature we must put on as he put ours. We are sons of God and must be even as he. Our life is a paradox with God for key. With this, we will conclude the session. Whenever the time permits, we will again go very deep into it, because now in view of the time constraint, I have confined myself. I am covering various traditional yoga, connecting it to the integral yoga. Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vishishyate. Om Shanti.